How many times have you known that you should say yes to a deal, but you didn't because you delayed and someone else came on and took it? Money loves speed. I really like this quote. I was reminded of it this week when I had a coaching call with my business coaches, Jerry and Laura. And I don't know exactly where this quote came from, but it may have come from a famous copywriter, Dan Kennedy. But money loves speed. Think about that. I think this is so true as I ponder on it in all the elements of my business that I've done over the years, especially with hard money lending and with buying and fixing and flipping properties. Sometimes the longer you wait to make a decision, that indecision will allow that opportunity to go away, and the money that you could have made on that opportunity is gone. So money loves speed. I'm going to talk about 3 examples and then 3 tips to be prepared as it relates to this. So we're going to talk about flipping a property after you've already bought a property, flipping it, deciding to buy a flip, and then other opportunities that come up in your life that you need to take quick action on to have a result and benefit from. And then we're going to talk about 3 tips around those. So let's talk about flipping a property. So once you've already bought a flip, I'll give you 2 contrasting examples. I have a borrower right now that is going on 4 years on a 6-month flip. I'm being patient with them because the actual value of the property compared to our loan amount is still in a really, really good spot, even though he's been accruing interest for 4 years on this property. But he is the opposite in this case of his money loving speed. His money profit is getting destroyed because his speed of getting this project done is at a snail's pace. So when you're borrowing with interest, money loves speed, meaning your money that you're making loves the speed of how quick you can get in and out of that flip. Now on the flip side, as the lender, money loves speed in that the longer he takes, as long as my value's still good, man, my money loves that because we're still earning interest this whole time while it's taken forever. Now on the flip side of flipping a property, Maria on my team, we just recently bought a flip. There's a cool story behind it. It's the same house I bought 18 years ago, and we're reflipping it for the same time. But we bought this basically 70 days ago, already flipped it, and closing on it this week. Money loves this kind of speed. If we were to hold this property for maybe 7 to 8 months, I would not make any money because the interest would eat up all of the potential profit that I would be making. So there's 2 contrasting examples under the same topic of flipping a property. The longer you take, money does not like you. You hate money at that point because you're just burning and burning interest and exposing yourself to market risk down the road. On the other example, getting tight with your time frame, money loves you because you're going to get in and out of that, pay less interest. I think you get the point. Okay, the other second topic that I want to talk about, and by the way, there are so many applicable areas where this would come into play. Money loves speed. Maybe it's even with dating. Like maybe you don't say ask that person out. Who knows? Maybe they're not going to be your future partner or spouse. But deciding to buy a flip. How many times have you known that you should say yes to a deal, but you didn't because you delayed and someone else came on and took it? I can think of so many times where if I wasn't prepared to just say, yep, that deal works, let's do it, money ultimately loved us because we were quick to make a decision, that deal was ours, and then it's up to us to execute it to make that money. So in these moments, especially in real estate, decisions generally need to be made very quickly, especially when you're buying and fixing and flipping a property, because the decision-making time is like, there really isn't one. You've got to be right there or someone else is going to be right there up against you to take that opportunity. Now, the other one I thought about was in relation to different maybe opportunities that come your way. One in particular that I can think of is 4 or 5 years ago, I was presented with the opportunity to join a coaching group called Strategic Coach. And it's not like there was a deadline where if I didn't jump on it, it wouldn't be there the next day, because this coaching program's been around for 25 or 30 years. But sometimes when you don't analyze a decision and make one, you may never make the decision. So in this case, I am so grateful that when presented with the opportunity and after thinking about it for just a little bit, I could kind of feel in my gut that it was like, this is probably something I should do. And it did require a significant investment. But looking back over the last 4 or 5 years of being in this group, I am so glad I said yes to that opportunity in a relatively quick way, because it forced me to then make the next decisions of joining the group, following along with their program, taking action in what I've learned, networking with other people, and it's blossomed into so many opportunities I really could have never imagined having had I not said yes. So ultimately, money loves speed in this decision, because ultimately at the start it cost an investment to get into, but I've gotten so much more out of it than I ever would have imagined. And like I said, there's so many examples with this concept of money loves speed. I could go on and on about the ability to say yes to a hard money loan. If I delay too long, I'm not going to get that borrower or have that opportunity. So those are the 3 examples I just gave. Flipping a property, deciding to flip a property, or deciding on different opportunities in your life that will ultimately benefit you. And so 3 tips that I thought of that would maybe help in relation to being in the spot where you can say yes to a good opportunity and make one quickly is be prepared and have the resources and foresight that you need in order to be able to say yes to a decision. So let's go back to the flipping of a property. If you're buying a flip and you know that you really will benefit from getting in and out of that flip quickly, you should be prepared ahead of time. All those things we've talked about in other videos. Plan your scope of work ahead of time. Know who's going to be doing the work on the property. Have a schedule, have deadlines, have timelines. Make sure you have the resources, the money to do the rehab. Otherwise, when you're presented with that opportunity, you might be confused and unconfident and say no, or in the case of my borrower that's taking 4 years to flip what should have been a 6-month flip, you're just going to be tripping over yourself and trying to figure it out along the way, where if you just would have been a little bit more disciplined and prepared up front, that decision to do that flip would have been a good one, because you would have had a plan in place to execute in a quick manner. So be prepared and have the resources and the market insight so you can say yes and move quickly. The other one that I thought of is have a reliable network. Going to like deciding to buy a flip or even flipping a property, if you don't have a good network of, say, wholesalers, hard money lenders, private lenders, Cruz or contractors, how are you going to have the confidence to say yes to the opportunity that's in front of you? How would you know if that flip is even a possibility for you to buy if you have no clue where you're going to get the money, who's going to do the work for you? So you will have more confidence to say yes to a good opportunity if you have that network in place. Now, the third tip, and there's again probably many tips we could go over, is trust your gut and just know that you will still feel scared, but don't let those anxious feelings or being scared prevent you from saying yes. And sometimes for me, I feel self-conscious. When I decided to join Strategic Coach, I just felt like I was the dumbest guy in the room and I didn't belong to be there, maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome. So just know that those feelings of like imposter syndrome, or that, oh, I'm nervous, I don't want to do this. If it's making you uncomfortable, obviously make sure you're in a positive situation. It's not like you're being asked to do something evil or bad, right? But if it's a good opportunity, just know that you're going to feel some anxiousness, some anxiety. You might be a little afraid. That is normal. That happens all the time. I mean, I still, not that I get butterflies, but I'm still somewhat second guessing every once in a while whether to do a loan or to buy that property. But you know what? Go for it. Do it, because the worst case scenario probably really isn't that bad. You might look a little dumb. Maybe on a deal or two, you lose a little bit of money. But what's going to happen is as you get better at making quick decisions in situations where they require a quick decision, you will get better and better at knowing how to make those decisions, how to be more prepared for the next one. Now, money loves speed isn't always true. There's definitely times where you need to take your time, think about it. But that's why I love doing what I'm doing, is because it is a quick, fast-paced world. There's not a lot of time that you should or have allowed to you to take to be able to say yes to fund a loan, yes to buy a deal, and the other things that we just talked about. So I hope this is helpful. I really loved reviewing this concept of money loves speed this week when I sat down with one of my business coaches, and I hope you do too. Click and follow the links for other resources, subscribe to the YouTube, and if I can help in any way, please reach out. Thanks.